Welcome to Fueled by Death Show. Hey, it's not just a podcast anymore. Get ready, the show's about to begin.
It's here.
I can't believe we're here, man.
It's here. You're here. We're here. Welcome to Fueled by Death Show. This is the 100th episode celebration, everybody. We made it. We made it to 100 episodes. We quit. We're never doing another episode, right?
This is it.
That's the upper echelon, right?
Yeah, no, you gotta stop while you're ahead.
Yeah.
You gotta get to somewhere where you want to be and completely just fucking quit everything, right? Because that's what our parents tell us. I think.
Yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. We're gonna do 1,000 more of these, but episode 100, we're really excited. That comes out tomorrow. We'll talk about that a little later in the show. This show is completely different than our normal weekly show. We are gonna celebrate all things Fueled by Deathcast because we made it 100 episodes, and we're here, and we're going to celebrate with all of you.
I can't hear the word celebrate without thinking it's a celebration, bitches.
It's a celebration, bitches.
A celebration! Bitches! Correct. It's a celebration, bitches!
It is.
It is.
It is.
Bitches.
So let's do some normalcy, and we'll start it off. I am the incredible Jeff.
And I am the amazing D-Man.
And if you guys want to follow us on social media, it's super easy to do. It's at the bottom of the screen throughout the entire show. I am at Jeff Wish Coffee.
And I am at Death Wish Dustin. And no show is complete without us shouting out at Real Christian Slater.
Please take a minute out of your day to either go follow Christian Slater on all of his social media or tell someone, some random stranger, a family member, a trusted friend, that you should go out and also follow Real Christian Slater, and we can help his followers grow and grow and grow, and one day hopefully have him on the show and explain to him how his social media has just grown to exorbitant lengths.
This message was brought to you by the Church of Christian Slater.
We're going to make it. We're filing for tax ID number very soon.
That's how you do it.
That's how you do it, right? That's how you make a church. And also, like every single show, we're not getting rid of this. Every single show on Fuel by Death Show, we give away something cool. And because this is the 100th episode celebration, we're giving away probably the coolest thing we've ever given away.
I'm so upset this is not mine.
Yeah.
I mean, there are only
10.
10 mugs like this mug that you see in front of you.
And no mug is like this one that you've seen in front of you, because this is the mug that accompanied me down to NASA when our coffee shot up on the rocket to the International Space Station. This is our Space Oddity mug, but it is a variant edition. There were only 10 made. We made them up quick because we knew we were going to release it at the end of the year. More details on that later in the show. But we wanted to have a couple released for the celebration of getting our coffee in space. So we had Deneen rush job it.
Yeah, and to give you a little bit of a backstory, we were still working out the glaze. You'll notice that the glaze on the actual Space Oddity mug is different than this one.
The Galaxy glaze.
Because we hadn't even invented it yet. We were still working with Niles over there at Deneen Pottery to get this perfect Galaxy glaze. So we came up with this glaze in place of it, just to get these 10 mugs out so we could have, Nicole sign some, so we could send Jeff to NASA with one.
Yep.
And I can't believe I'm not getting this mug.
I know, but what we're going to do is one lucky winner at the end of the show will be announced in the comments. To enter, all you got to do is share this feed if you're watching it live on Facebook and join the conversation. Drop a comment, drop 10, 20,000 comments in those comments.
20,000 comments.
Be part of the conversation, and one lucky comment at the end of the show will get picked and win this mug. Dustin and myself will sign it and send it right out to you. It's super special, and we're even going to write episode 100 on the bottom of it.
Oh, my God.
Commemorate the 100th episode celebration. And speaking of a celebration, I want to do, like we always do, but for real, thank our good friend, Brock Powell.
Seriously, Brock, there is not only a special place in my heart for you. My heart is made out of Brock Powell.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. He's an amazing, genuinely awesome, genuinely caring dude who has been with us since the beginning, that we made friends with him right off the bat.
Yeah.
And we recognized his talent right away, and we knew we were making the show, and he was the first person we called up, and he said yes. And that's why you get to hear him all the time now.
I realized coming into this show, and we'll talk more about the show, about the podcast as the show goes on and remembering it, but I realized very early on that it would be great to have a dual voice, Dustin and myself, as hosts of this, but I really wanted an ethereal, somebody professional doing, like, the intro, the outro, the bumps in between. I think that makes a more entertaining type of thing. And to meet somebody like Brock, like-minded creatively, and also wanted to do stuff for us and help us out, he made this show better than we could have ever expected.
Amazing dude. So, go on over to brockvox.com and look him up at brockvox on Instagram.
All social media at brockvox, brockvox.com to see what he's doing. He's doing all sorts of stuff out there in the world. And you can go way, way, way back on the podcast, episode number 5, and we have Brock on the show talking about how he broke into voice acting, which is an incredible story.
Brock broke.
He literally wrote a letter to the voice of Goofy, Bill Farmer, expressing his interest, and that ended up being his mentor and got him into the business, and it's incredible. And we're going to have Brock back on the show probably either later this year or next year, so you'll be able to hear even more from him. But we love Brock to death. This show would be nothing without him, so thank you, Brock. And stay tuned. This show is, like I said, different than any other week that we've done. We're going to celebrate all things Fueled by Deathcast. We're going to run down where this show has taken us. The podcast has taken us all over the place, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some of our favorite memories, our favorite moments. We're going to give you a tour of the brand new studio, show you some bloopers.
We're going to roast ourselves.
We're going to roast ourselves, and at the end of it, just like normal, you're going to get the same two things. You're going to get a sneak peek of the actual 100th episode of the podcast straight from the Black Vatican, featuring Father Zakk Wylde. It's incredible. I can't wait for you guys to see that tomorrow. And at the very end of this show, we're going to do the update. As normal, we got a bunch of new stuff to talk about from Death Wish Coffee to get you excited. And let's just jump right into it.
Secret code unlocked. Discount of death.
This week until Wednesday, November 21st, if you type in the discount code on deathwishcoffee.com, Odin, Jeff,
ODIN,
that will nail you 15% off of all of the Valhalla Java products on our webpage. That means you got this cool mug, we got a canteen, we got, all the Odin cups and the 5-pounders, the 1-pounders. You can even get a bag of Death Wish and a bag of Valhalla Java on that Valhalla Java collections page. 15% off with the discount code Odin until Wednesday, November 21st.
It's the best time to get anything Valhalla Java related, and it's in celebration of the 100th episode yet again because we've got Zakk Wylde, the father of Odin Force blend Valhalla Java there on the show. We actually talk a little bit about the coffee as well. It gets a little crazy, but we do talk about the coffee. And we love Zakk to death, and we're going to celebrate the whole thing. So all week long, Odin for 15% off all those Valhalla Java products.
Science!
All right, so this week on the show, like I said, it's a celebration of everything Fueled by Deathcast, but the one thing I didn't want to get rid of was the science segment. Everybody loves the science segment every week, and we love that you guys have been giving us a lot of feedback on it, too. So I decided to kind of crib our bets and basically we're going to celebrate the show, but also have a science segment, which is in celebration of the show.
And, we couldn't have a 100th episode without mentioning the fact that, because of Jeff and I having this podcast here and our relationship with astronaut Nicole Stott, we got our fucking coffee to space.
For those of you who might be just tuning in for the very first time and have never heard about it, you can go on over to deathwishcoffee.com/space and read all the different stuff that happened around that. But that's exactly what happened. On Fueled by Deathcast, on episode 18, we had retired astronaut Nicole Stott on the show. We joked about what it would take to put Death Wish Coffee in space, and she says on the show, I think that's a great idea, let's talk about it. And never in a million years did Demon and myself think that that was real. We thought she was just a very nice person on the phone, and that was going to be it.
She's that too, to
She
be fair.
is, but I mean, like,
No
never
bullshit
thought-
with this woman, though.
Never thought that was going to happen, and it actually did. And earlier this year on a SpaceX rocket,
Falcon 9.
Yep, we in the Dragon capsule, it was packed full of 60 packs of the Death Wish coffee, instant coffee, and we sent it up to the International Space Station. And we did get word back from the astronauts on the space station. They really enjoyed the coffee because it was different than the coffee that they had up there. The coffee that they have is mixed with cream and sugar, and ours went up black. So they had like that other option, which is great. And they had the world's strongest coffee outside of the world, which is even crazier to think about. And I wanted to play you guys a couple clips of our journey towards that. This first one is the moment that I just mentioned on episode 18 of Dustin and myself talking to Nicole about drinking coffee in space and just joking about getting Death Wish coffee in space. And here's that clip. We talked about getting out there, but you're out in space, you said, for 6 hours or whatever. When you come back into the space station, is it like an acclimation process? Like does it take your body a little bit, like, is it different from being in space to being back in the space station, or is it kind of like an easy transition?
It really is a pretty easy transition. I think once you get back in the airlock, there's the procedures. I mean, it's all very scripted and checklisted again, to bring you back in. You don't want to hurt yourself, pulling the helmet off and all of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's much quicker than going out the door. And it's kind of like, when you really work hard at anything and you finally get to get all the equipment off, you get to, think about just chilling and relaxing afterwards. That's where it's just kind of this wind down, because when you're out on a spacewalk, it's, there is the physical aspect of it. There's the, wow, look, I am outside in my own little spaceship, really. Yeah. I've got my own little visor, it's just between this and between me and 250 miles below me, that beautiful planet again. That, by the way, is a distraction, so you got to kind of look away from that.
Wow.
Or you'd just be looking at that the whole time and doing your job.
Yeah.
And it's there's kind of a mental, you're working hard mentally when you're out there too.
Yeah.
And so it is you come back in, you've successfully gotten your work done, and
you're exhausted, probably, right?
You want one of these?
Yeah. A cup of coffee.
You want to chill a little bit. Yeah.
Do you drink coffee in space?
Yes, you do.
Oh.
How do we get Death Wish to space?
How do we?
You know what? Let's talk about that. I think people would love it.
Awesome.
Great. I am so into that.
Awesome.
Jeff and I and you will be responsible for putting Death Wish in space. That's
I love
amazing.
it. Well, this was officially the coolest science segment we've ever had. Thank you so much,
Thank
Nicole.
you.
So cool. And that led to, again, a year later, us talking with Nicole and then meeting the incredible staff at NASA Food Labs who helped us develop this instant product. And as you can see, we put it in the astronaut bags. I actually got one. I'll bring it up.
Oh, man. Of course, we have to keep one here. Just in case we run out of coffee, we can tap into this sucker.
Yeah, this is exactly what went up on the spaceship to the space station. It comes in these bags. You acclimate it with a little bit of hot water and put a straw in there and just suck it out like a juice bag, like a Capri Sun. And there's a Velcro on everything, so because everything's floating away, so they can stick it to themselves or stick it to the wall or whatever. And it was so cool. I got to be part of the NASA social event when the rocket launched, and I got to go down and actually witness it as close as you can get. The closest you can get to a rocket launch is 3 miles away, and I got right on the causeway with the other people, and we videotaped the whole thing, and I wanted you guys to experience that launch one more time, and here's that. Here we go, guys. Are you excited? I'm excited.
T-minus 8 seconds.
Oh my gosh.
7, 6, 5, 4.
3,
All eyes on.
2. I'm gonna cry.
Oh, there it goes.
We have ignition
gosh.
and liftoff.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Holy smokes. Here it comes.
Oh my God.
got to see, you couldn't really see on my video, but we got to see when the Falcon 9 separated from the Dragon, you could see the tiniest dot of light fall to the earth as the Dragon is still going away, because that's the rocket coming away from it. And when the separation happened and the smoke was hitting the atmosphere, the sun came up at that exact moment. And it hit the smoke, and I'm showing you guys some of the pictures and video from that as well. And I've never seen it look like someone painted the sky.
Yeah, I was saying that when we were here.
Yeah.
Looking at all this feed coming back from that launch, and I was showing everybody that picture of the sun rising and the smoke, and it did. It looked like
Photoshop.
It looked like a painting.
It was incredible, and I talked to everybody who was part of NASA Social who have seen multiple launches. I even talked to that day some of the astronauts at NASA Space Center, and everybody said the same thing. They had never seen a launch.
Come on, they always
like
say that.
No, like they were 100%
Wow.
true. They've never seen, because it was that perfect second, the smoke hitting
right.
and the sun coming up. Never seen one where it hit that perfect second before.
Somebody should definitely paint that.
I still can't believe that, every week on this show, we do this science segment because we love talking about science. We love talking about space. We love, stimulating our minds like at the top of the show. Never in a million years did I think that we would actually create a science segment.
I know. It's great. I mean, I feel like it's such a great stimulus to have, and then all of a sudden you're keeping up with all these awesome instances that are happening around the world, and then you feel like you're actually doing some good for yourself when you're learning about science, when you're listening to science, when you're keeping up with modern technology. It's pretty incredible.
We now return to Fueled by Deathcast.
Okay, D-Man, so 100 episodes of Fueled by Deathcast. We've done 100 numbered episodes.
It's crazy to think back and how many things have happened since we've started this podcast, and just to think of where it will be in another 100 episodes just blows my mind.
It's changed so much since the inception of this show.
The fact is, when you're creating anything, you have to be adaptable. You have to look at it objectively and go, is this working? And sometimes it's not, and we want to make sure this is the best show possible. So you'll see some segments come and go as we move along, and we're always just trying to make this show better.
It's true, and the show has changed drastically since that beginning. The first episode came out in December of 2016, and then we are now on the 100th episode, which is mind-boggling, but we're so excited about it. And we realized about a year in fact, I just got the notification a little bit ago, about a year into the show, we realized that a lot of those segments, those early entertainment-based segments that we really liked, were a lot more visual than just an audio-based podcast, especially the science, especially, this type of stuff where we're talking about things that we wanted to show people and not just, go check that out on YouTube, what we're talking about or whatever. So we decided, let's split this into two ideas, and that's when it really started about a year ago, where now what you're watching, the Fueled by Death show, became this much more visual aspect of it, and Fueled by Death cast became much more about the guest, which is what people wanted anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if you see a guest on our podcast and you're like, I want to hear that guest, and you have 30 minutes of some random show before that guest even pops on, it didn't really make sense.
Yeah.
So you got to do what you got to do, and we made a show and a podcast.
We built the original model from late night television. If you think of the Tonight Show or David Letterman, they've got their skits, their monologue, their kind of stuff that ease you into before they bring out their first guest that sits on that couch. So we thought of it in the same vein. But the reason why those work is because you're watching it and you're not just listening to it. So that's why we split it, and now you get both of these, and we do them both in full video, and we've learned a lot since then. And like you said, in another 100 episodes, what is it going to be?
It's going to be a science show.
It might be.
I'd be okay with that.
I would be too. But, the weekly internet TV show, Fueled by Death show, along with the weekly podcast, Fueled by Death podcast, has been incredible for me personally. I've had so much fun being able to continually create, morph, adapt, and make this thing as entertaining as possible.
Well, I'm constantly inspired by the guests that we have on, giving us insight as to how they succeed, their mindset of success, or their mindset of just life in general. And, each person that we talk to, I take a little piece of knowledge with me, and I think personally I've grown exponentially just from hearing these people talk, connecting with them, and relating with them. It's been an incredible journey.
Yes. And speaking of journeys, this actual show has journeyed from what now? 3 separate rooms, I think, and 4 or 5 tables?
Even more than that, because when we first started it, we were doing it from my living room.
That's true. That's true, because way back in the day, before this was ever a podcast, it was the D-Man Death Wish Update,
Right.
which appeared on the Fanboys Inc. network, which was where we were doing
But
our
even like
podcast.
episode number 1 was in my living room.
No, episode number 1 was in the conference room with Eddie Fivey.
Or maybe it was episode number 0. then.
0, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's what it was.
But yeah, we've been all over the place. I have a quick little clip I can play you guys of how the studio has morphed. But all the way back to that first room, to the room we're in now, this brand new studio that we love so much that you can see from this angle, but you've never really gotten a chance to see all the other stuff that we have in this room because we really try to make it a really cool studio. So we did a fun little MTV Cribs type thing to give you guys a tour of all the different walls and all the cool stuff we have in here. So check it out. Hey guys, I heard you wanted to hear about the studio, so you guys want to follow me in? Come on! All right, welcome guys. This is our brand new studio here at Death Wish Coffee. We went through a lot of changes, and to the point where now we're in a brand new building, the office part of the company, and the studio came with it. And I put this all together in a day, and you only get to see one angle, this angle, if you want to move it over there. Like, you only get to see like this angle on the show. So I wanted to kind of walk you through. Dustin and I are going to show you all the parts that you don't get to see. This wall is kind of just a wall of stuff that we like. On this wall, this is the wall that actually the camera is facing out from. So you never get to see it because it's right behind the wall. There's a lot of our cool little art. These 2 big canvas pieces were gifted to us by Ominous Press, the awesome people who make our Odin Force comic book. Both of these are the covers. This is the cover of issue number 1, the cover of issue number 2, done by Joe Jusko. These are not the originals at all. They're just prints on canvas, but it was really cool that they gifted us these big ones because they're larger than life and cannot wait for issue 3, guys. First time we ever went to Walker Stalker was in Nashville. The dumbest face I ever made, alongside the Punisher himself, Mr. John Bernthal. Super nice guy. It was awesome to meet him. And next to that is Dustin with Tommy Flanagan. Tommy Flanagan was great. We did a panel with the Sons of Anarchy guys, and the entire weekend, anytime we saw Tommy, he'd be like, "You coffee guys!" And just brought a smile to my face forever and ever. This piece of art right here, I got signed. It's one of my favorite pieces ever. Obviously, I'm a huge Wolverine fan, and it's from the Joss Whedon run of Astonishing X-Men. The reason why I have it up in my office is because Wolverine is one of the most important X-Men there is. He's also probably one of the most powerful. You can make arguments against that, but he is one of the most powerful X-Men. But he knows that he needs his team to make him better, and this is the fastball special. As you can see, Colossus is chucking him at a Sentinel, which is off panel at this point, but that makes him better, and he knows his team is what does that, so that's pretty cool. And finally on this wall, we've got this awesome print from Rob Pryor. Rob Pryor does these two-handed, like, incredible pieces of art. This is obviously the incredible moment from Empire Strikes Back when Luke Skywalker is fighting Vader and learns his true patronage. Spoiler, Vader's his dad.
No!
So this wall in the studio is our comic book wall, and it's getting bigger all the time. We love comic book artists and writers, and we've had a lot of them on the show, and to commemorate that, A lot of them have signed stuff for us, and we put a lot of their work up on this wall.
Most important comic.
And let's switch the roles, Dustin, and you can give them the tour of the rest of the place.
No! Of course, no studio is complete without the fine collections of Sideshow collectibles. Right here we have our awesome Iron Man. A lot of cool things that he does, but mostly scary Robert Downey Jr.'s face is always awesome. Every part on this thing moves. It's incredible. And, you know, you can't just have one action figure in the room. You need multiple action figures in the room. And over here we have pretty much everybody's favorite, Hulk and Wolverine. This thing is awesome. It weighs about 50 pounds and is pretty much the centerpiece of our studio for reasons that are obvious. It's awesome. And no wall is complete without a Zakk Wylde guitar. This is Zakk Wylde's actual guitar that he played at a show and gifted us with this guitar afterwards. I believed he signed it somewhere.
Yeah, take it down.
Let's take this bad boy down. Ah, there we go. There's the date of the show, where he played it. Yeah, this is really awesome. We've been to a lot of really awesome places, and as you know, when you go to these places, you need to have badges to get in. So we like to keep those on our walls to remind us of some of our favorite trips. Over here, of course, we have the our little tribute to Zach Sabbath here. They all signed this. Of course, all of our flight badges from Nicole Stott sent us all these, and here they have kind of tribute flyers of themselves dressed up as Star Trek characters. And over here is Jesus, what was that movie? It was
Armageddon.
Armageddon, right. Of course, we have a pouch of our coffee that went out into space, looked exactly like that when it landed to the astronauts. And of course, our shout out to the Cosmos, which we love so dearly here at Fueled by Deathcast. Every Fueled by Deathcast show is featuring the shelf behind us, which, you know, you get to see from afar, but we'll take a closer look at what we have up here. There's a lot of cool little trinkets up here that we like to keep by to remind us of some of the cool things that we've been up to. Of course, we have, you know, our vodka bottles up here, the things that I get to smash, like the Stanley Master bottle and the Fueled by Deathcast mug. We have some cool signed comics up here, Das Horn, the old cold brew up here. This is the photo that we sent to space. And as always, we got some good mugs up here, the Yeti mug. Jeff loves this one. He can fit so much chili in it. Some Lego toys that we got from some cons from some friends, and of course some more gross octopus stuff, because that's what we do here, gross octopus stuff. We have this is a pretty famous mug here, Mount Deathmore. I think they only made a few hundred of these.
50.
50 of them. Oh
Only
my
50.
God. These were gifted to only Death Wish employees when we released this, something John Swedish cooked up, but it's actually the last dinner with all the current employees there, which we were a very small team. We're still a small team, but we're growing every day. Day of the Dead mug with, actually this was Tom Davis. He's a dog educator, canine educator, and he brought his dog Poe, which was he was a big Saint Bernard, and we gave him this toy, so we keep it by full of slobber. It's still crusty with slobber. I can feel it. It's disgusting, actually. This was the original survival kit. When Thomas comes up with this stuff, he kind of makes little prototypes here, and this is something I kept by. He wanted to throw it away, but it has some history behind it. I love the survival kit. Thomas comes up with some really cool stuff. This ammo box was actually gifted to Mike Brown at one convention that he went to, but this is actually laser engraved in here. It's pretty awesome. Wouldn't be complete without our 4 honor bags here. Some earlier canteens that you don't see anymore. One that you do. Teddy bear mug. Some shout out books. But of course, if any guest starts to go wrong, it's as terrible as I expected. This was the first sample that we ever got from Deneen ever. When we decided that we wanted to start working with them, they sent us a bunch of samples to see how we would like to get started. This was the mug that they sent us, and we said, we want to make our Death Wish mug like this. This is the very first one. Of course, some gifts from Sennheiser, the Saratoga Coffee Traders mug, one of the early ones, Baltimore Comic-Con, one of our first visits, and the other grinded out mug. And of course, some security.
Oh, welcome back to the show.
All right. So one of the other things that a lot of people ask me about this show is, especially the podcast itself, like how much do you edit the podcast? And when it comes to the guests and the conversations we have with the guests,
Almost not at all.
almost not at all. There's very, very few times that I've edited it, either for sound quality or for length.
Or I think there was one moment where somebody was like, I actually shouldn't have said that on the show. Can you
Correct.
take it out?
Yes, that definitely
That's only
happened as
happened
well.
once.
That definitely has happened as well. But we really like the idea, like every podcast, the idea that it is a rolling conversation and that you, the listener and the viewer, can be part of that conversation by tuning in. And that's what we really strive for. But with the entertainment aspect of it, the stuff that Demon and myself have to helm, we're a bunch of jamokes over here.
And we're weird.
And we've gotten better. Trust me, we've gotten better.
We're still weird, though.
Through the 100 episodes. But throughout those 100 episodes, we've definitely made a lot of mistakes. And last year, we did a year in review when we made it to our 52nd episode. And one of the things that everybody always talks about from that episode is the blooper reel. And so I wanted to show you guys that again with a couple new ones from the last year since we've been in here. But this is a lot of the bloopers that Demon and myself have made trying to make this awesome show for you guys. So be kind when you're laughing at us. Three, 2, 1. Oh, is it going? I thought you were just getting ready. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
We getting ready? I am ready.
What fuels you?
What fuels us this week, D-Man?
Me? Why me? Let's try that one again.
That one's for the blooper reel. That one's important too.
You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch.
You're a son of a bitch.
son of a bitch.
So I was thinking, you're a son of a bitch.
You're a son of a bitch.
I was also thinking, you're a son of a bitch. Look at me, I'm coffee. Yeah. I make everybody feel better.
Blooper reel.
Oh! Oh! Those are my vocal warm-ups.
I like it.
Ah!
Pick a pack of pickled penises.
Ah!
God damn it. All right.
Today on NPR, we discuss why Jeff is such a piece of shit.
Breaking news hitting the news desk. Dustin Alexander sucks dicks in hell. News at 11.
Not the same. Yeah. Okay.
Hi, I'm the... Alright. But we are fueled by Deathcast, the world's strongest podcast, put out by the Death Wish Coffee Company, the world's strongest coffee.
It's okay, we have to get good at this at some point.
Should have wrote this down. NY...
This is what fighters do before they fight.
So join us... 3, 2, 1. So... So join us April 9th. 2, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, really?
We already recorded that.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh.
Do you want to start from the beginning?
We'll see you there.
All right.
I'm funny.
You are funny.
But I'll never forget that moment either.
The Fueled by Death guest.
All right, so for the 100th episode, we always knew we wanted to get a killer of a guest. And I could never think of anybody else other than Zakk Wylde.
And we've had him on the show before, but, talking to somebody on the phone is much different than going to their house, going into their musical studio, sitting down with them for an hour, and actually having some face-to-face time with this dude.
It was incredible. He welcomed us into his home and the Black Vatican. We got to talk to him for a long time about all sorts of good stuff. If you guys are a fan of Zakk Wylde, you know he's crazy, and it shines on this episode. But we had a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun with all of our guests on this show. We had a lot of fun with Father Zakk, and I wanted to show you guys a clip of this episode. Now, this is coming out everywhere tomorrow, episode 100 of Fueled by Deathcast with Zakk Wylde, but here's a super sneak peek right here.
No, yeah, but like anything, you make time for it. Like lots of time.
Lots and lots
you make
of
time for that, and it's not, I enjoy my routine.
Yeah. Was it always like that? Was it always like a serious routine, serious regimen, or is that something that kind of...
Yeah, but like I said, I think it's because I enjoy doing it. You
Yeah.
know? I mean, I don't look at it as working out or anything like that. I just for me, it's like pretty therapeutic. Kind of like, fisting my prostate and smashing my genitalia into submission. That's very therapeutic as well. It's like kind of, you get a little me time. Just to get away from the chaos. When you're fighting crime and everything like that.
Yeah.
Oh, it is what it is.
Oh, my gosh.
How do you know when to stop smashing your genitalia and start drinking coffee? Like, when is that?
It's funny you should ask. I would think once,
Yeah, come on here. Where's this going?
It's not funny. I would say once there's squirting of blood.
That's where it is.
Not drips. Squirting is when you realize maybe we should back off a little.
I gotcha. Oh, my God.
Oh, welcome back to the show.
Okay, another thing I wanted to celebrate about this show, Fueled by Deathcast, is not only are we lucky enough to talk to some of these incredible people and bring you their stories and their conversations every single week, but we've been able to go to some incredible places to get these stories, and it's all been because of this show. It's incredible to think about that a little podcast like this has brought us pretty much across the country and back.
It's pretty even overseas
Yeah.
into like some unknown territories.
Yeah.
I remember being in the middle of the ocean being like, what are we doing
Yeah.
here?
And it all started back early in the show. And this is a full disclosure again. This is before I was full-time employee of Death Wish Coffee. Mike Brown is a giant fan of the movie Groundhog Day. And he got an Airbnb in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania for the festivities for Groundhog Day 2017. And literally, he came to Dustin and I. Look,
I remember when he pulled me aside and he was like, I kind of have this idea and I don't know if it'll really work, but I got this place out in Punxsutawney and, Groundhog Day. And I was like, whatever it is, Mike, we're down. We're doing it.
We had only came out with a handful of episodes at that time of the show. And he was like, do you guys want to go down and record an episode for Groundhog Day? And we jumped at the chance. So we did. And it was crazy.
It was bizarre.
I was up for almost 40 hours straight.
Please tell me you have a picture of Mike in his costume.
Oh, I do.
Okay,
And I
good.
will play you guys. First, I want to play you guys the intro to the show that Dustin and I did in celebration of the movie Groundhog Day. And here's that.
I love Jeff, but sweet and high. Whoop, Mr. McCormick, coffee pie.
Death Wish Coffee presents Fueled by Deathcast, the world's strongest podcast. With your hosts, the incredible Jeff and the amazing D-Man.
Okay, campers, rise and shine, and don't forget your booties, because it's cold out there today.
It's cold out there every day. What is this, Miami Beach?
Not hardly. And you can expect hazardous travel later today with that, That blizzard thing.
That blizzard thing. That blizzard thing. Oh, well, here's the report. The National Weather Service is calling for a big blizzard thing.
Yeah, they are. But, there's another reason why today is especially exciting.
Especially cold.
Especially cold, okay. But the big question on everybody's lips.
On their chapped lips.
On their chapped lips, right. Do you think Phil is going to come out and see his shadow?
Punxsutawney Phil.
That's right, woodchuckers. It's
Groundhog Day!
So not only did we go down to Groundhog Day, not only were we up all night, and I pushed that show out at like 3 in the morning.
All night.
Yeah, all day, all night. We interviewed some of the inner circle for that show.
That was bizarre.
Which was bizarre. The guys in the top hats.
We partied with them.
Yeah, we sure did.
By the way, they party hard.
Yeah, it's a party in Punxsutawney that
They had
night.
Dueling pianos.
It was crazy.
It was great.
And if you saw in that video, both Dustin and myself, we did our best Bill Murray impression.
Dueling Bill Murrays.
And Mike was Ned Ryerson. And to a T, the people kept coming up to him all night going, Ned? Ned Ryerson? It was fucking crazy.
It was great.
But I mean,
it was weird.
So many cool things we've gotten to do with this show. In fact, another one was Walker Stalker Nashville. It was the first time we ever did a Walker Stalker convention. Now we've done a bunch. But holy crap, was that crazy. We ran a booth, and we also got to do some panels, incredible panels with Chad L. Coleman, the guys from Sons of Anarchy. It was so much fun, that first one.
There were so many levels of fun. I mean, just being in the city of Nashville was incredible. And then there was a few things going on in Nashville, too. It was the Stanley Cup.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The Country Music Awards. Yep. There was something else going on. I don't quite remember.
And Walker Stalker.
And the Walker Stalker. So the whole city was just pandemonium and just screaming women everywhere. And it was, I mean, that festival, the Walker Stalker Con, was just next level. And not only were we running panels and interviews and representing the company, we were running the booth. Just me and Jeff.
Yep.
No help. Carrying around all the shit everywhere, planning it all out. It was
awesome.
Insane, but it was... it's one of those things that just go to show you some of the most fun times in life are from when you put in the most work.
It's true. And honestly, this has turned into a beautiful relationship between this show and Fan Fest, which does Walker Stalker and Heroes and Villains. And I got a couple clips I want to show you guys of us being able to be on stage and present at these shows. And also, me getting thrown around by some of the celebrities. Shout out to Michael Cudless and Michael Rooker. They both like to really just toss me around.
I guess dudes named Michael like to kick your ass in general.
It is true. So enjoy some of these clips from Walker Stalkers and Heroes and Villains.
Here's the Incredible Jeff and the Amazing Pete.
Walker Stalker!
What's up, everybody?
Oh my God, there is so many people here.
Okay, so what you want to do? Okay, go ahead, do it. Is not be there, right? So if you're on your knees, it's a little bit hard. Go ahead. And once you have it, take it away. I come in. I grab here, stay there.
That's it.
And I hit myself in the head. And then I have to roll until the police come. Or I can do something else. So what I want to try to do is get around, if we do it slow, I want to come in to the side of it, and then I can...
That's how you you and to walk a stalker.
Another crazy adventure that this show has taken us to is New York Comic Con. We've been the official coffee of New York Comic Con for the past couple of years. This year, actually, we took off because there was just too many things going on with the company. We just didn't have enough time to do all the events we wanted to do, and we had to take a year off of New York Comic Con, but I'm sure we'll be back next year. But in 2016, we went down there. We ran the coffee truck. Incredible experience with that. Running into Artist Alley with pump pots when we weren't supposed to.
That was
and giving pump pots of coffee to Amy Chu and to Bob Camp and his wife and caffeinating all the artists. And Brock was there and had his first day at Death Wish there, which was awesome.
I feel like that trip, there was a lesson there. And it's something that I had learned a while ago, where things aren't necessarily going the way you want it to, you need to adapt.
Yes.
And I remember sitting there that night talking with you, like, how do we get our coffee to more people? And we had gone to Artist Alley that morning, and we knew we had to go there. We had to show up early in the morning, Artist Alley with the pump pots, going to every artist, making sure that they were caffeinated, and it was a wild success, and it was such a great experience to touch base. Everybody was so excited, just like, oh, really? How much is it? Free? Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Can you fill this up? Oh, hell yeah, I can.
And that was 2016. And then in 2017, I actually went down because you weren't able to make it. I went down, and we had 3 separate spots. We had the truck outside. We had a lounge area, a block up from the Javits Center. And then we had a booth right on the main floor where we had some of our comic book artists and writers sit down and sign our book right there, right next to the Marvel booth. It was pandemonium. It was crazy. And I've got a couple clips and some photos to show you guys from this as well, because if you've never been to New York Comic Con, holy moly, you got to check it out someday.
Game over, man! Who wants some coffee? Yeah! Oh, awesome, wonderful. So we're here in New York. This is very exciting. This is good. This is the coffee Donald Trump would drink if his tiny hands could hold the cup. I got it, Jeff. Here we go.
You got it.
Free coffee! There you go, yeah, there you go. Oh, no, this is for me.
No.
Hold that. We got hot Death Wish. Here we go. Death Wish coffee, everybody. It's delicious. Turns out, now, Death Wish is offered in Keurig, liquid, beans, and injection, which is what I have.
Oh, I could tell.
What's your name?
Don't worry about it.
Okay, Kevin, here you go. Enjoy that. Thank you.
Everybody was in good spirits, and it was incredible. We were in 3 separate locations. We had our big black Deathmobile right out in the inner roadway serving coffee all day, every day. We also had a booth in probably one of the most coveted spots ever, right on the main floor, in bird's eye view of the Marvel booth right there at 1341. And then we also had a really cool coffee lounge at the Hudson Mercantile 2 blocks up, and it was incredible. Speaking of New York, another trip that we got to do with this show, and we met some new people too, people who have been on this show, like AC Slade, was at the Empire State Tattoo Festival. What pandemonium that was. A little coffee company that could, trying to caffeinate a bunch of tattooed freaks and crazy people. It was crazy.
By the way, we mean freaks in the nicest way possible.
Yeah.
And it was just wild just being on the floor watching hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people getting tattooed. Do you remember the kid, the little girl tattooing her father?
Yep.
And there was a news station there, and
there was a news station from Germany there.
The dad was crying oh my God, it was such a touching moment.
We met a magician. We met a lady who carried around a boa constrictor.
Oh yeah.
It was
the
ice bar.
The ice bar. I can't forget the ice bar because it was definitely a D-man smash moment. when I found out that the reason why people have ice bars is to smash their glasses after taking a shot, and then I immediately found out that's not what you're supposed to do, but it's what everybody started doing anyways.
Unfortunately, I missed that because since we've started this show, both Steven and myself have gotten a lot of new tattoos. We like tattoos, and we've gotten a lot more ink since we started this show. And this one, actually, on my forearm right here, I actually got at that show. And I'm going to show you guys a really quick clip of a time lapse of getting that from my best friend Matt Maroka, who's an incredible artist. And he did it right live on the show floor. It was like 7 hours. I sat there in the chair getting this done while you were smashing ice glasses.
It was perfect.
But I'll show you guys that clip.
And one of my favorite trips.
Let's talk about it. Salty Dog Cruise last year, the Flogging Molly Cruise, the
Most
punk rock
insane
cruise.
trip. I gotta say, well, no.
This photo brings it all. Literally, crowd surfing with a bottle of Jameson while Flogging Molly is playing in front of a pool on a ship in the middle of the ocean.
It's so insane. It's so insane. And we went to the Bahamas and we went to Key West, and the whole way. What do you think? There was like probably 10 areas on the boat where people were playing music.
It was so cool, such an eye-opener, because I never even wanted to do a cruise before.
Do you remember the band playing in the hallway?
Yeah.
Oh, you have a clip of that,
I
don't
do.
you?
I do. I'll play you a clip of that, and I'll play you a little bit of a taste of our Before You Die episode that chronicles our entire trip on the Salty Dog Cruise. Check that out right here. So on this episode, we went on a crazy nautical adventure.
Yeah, this was amazing. It was both yours and mine. First cruise, but this was the best cruise you could ever experience.
Full disclosure, I never actually thought about even going on a cruise. There were so many amazing bands playing this ship, all over the ship, all 3 days. It was pandemonium to even try to fit it all in, including the bands we got to talk to on this show, like Flogging Molly, Buzzcocks, The Vandals, The Adolescents, Skinny Lister, Mickey Rickshaw, Brogue Wave, Captains of the Head, Beans on Toast. The list keeps going and going. Outside of all this incredible live music that we just got to experience, D-Man, what was your favorite moment? What's the moment you look back on?
I'll never forget that moment we had on the beach in the Bahamas.
Yes.
I mean, it was literally out of a vacation pamphlet, and I see why, marketers have pushed it as this big relaxing thing, because you know what? It was. It was the most relaxing moment of my entire life.
Finally, the last and most recent trip that this show has brought us to, the most recent adventure that we were able to be a part of, was a week-long excursion in L.A.
We did 16 interviews in 6 days.
Covered 1,000 miles. We even went down to San Diego and back and talked to some incredible people, some of which who have been on this show before, which we're going to get in person for the first time, like Zakk Wylde on tomorrow's 100th episode, and some people we've never gotten a chance to talk to and we've always wanted to. And it was such an eye-opening thing. In fact, it was your first time in California.
Yeah, and I was moved.
Yeah.
When I went there, it was like I could live here, man.
Mm-hmm.
I could live here, and I could be with these people trying to break it into the industry and do the same exact thing. I really felt it when you just feel the hustle in the air.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like we hustled so well, because that is just the environment that you're in while you're there.
And some of the episodes we've already put out, like our episode at Cold Steel with the owner of Cold Steel Knives, the Sideshow Collectible 2-parter episode that we recorded right at Sideshow Collectibles, and also the incredible episode with actor and stuntman Anthony DeLongis on his ranch, where he gave us demonstrations of throwing weapons and whip demonstrations. It's incredible. You guys got to go check out those episodes. And I do want to shout out everybody in California right now. I hope you're all safe. Those wildfires are just terrible, and I really hope that we can rein that in and everybody can get back on their feet, because I know a lot of people have lost their homes.
And a shout out to all the firefighters putting in the work to help people get by. I heard something about Airbnb opening houses to people, which is great. It's great to see companies like that do something good for people in need. So yeah, shout out to all that.
But I do want to give you guys a slight little taste of upcoming episodes with some really cool guests that we got while on our adventure out in LA.
I see a lot of your fighters that you're training going over to Japan and overseas a lot. Is that because you have connections over that way to get these guys fights in Japan and stuff?
It's just easier for me to fool them into paying us money to have us over. I've managed to pull the wool over their eyes.
That's awesome.
Actually, one of the things I think that is most important outside of, I mean, not even framed within fighting or anything like that, but just for life, is to travel the world.
Yeah.
And to see other cultures. Agreed. And to beat them up whenever possible. But mostly to,
a real Viking mentality.
But to go and travel and experience all these different things as much as you can. It really changes your perspective on many things. And to me, fighting in Japan is the best place to fight in the whole world. Nothing against my American fan base. I love the hell out of you, and my European, and you name it. I'm happy to have you all, and I've always had fantastic experiences with everyone from all around the world. But I've really, really enjoyed fighting in Japan.
You were saying that, like, for a lot of the Disney work that you do, you go to the studio to do that.
Right.
But we live in an age now where, like, a lot of voice acting, people can just do it, like, over their phone or over at home.
I mean, the equipment here is the same equipment, the same microphone that I use at the studios. The difference is that there we have a little bit more control. Like, if a plane comes over, it's much a better treated room, so you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff.
Right.
Also, the engineers and the directors, it'd be a little cramped in here. I could do my own recording, but for their directors and everything, it's just more control that they have to go to a professional studio.
Do you enjoy going and having the director there rather than doing it by yourself in a box kind of thing?
Yeah. I have to rely on the director because principal recording on, let's say, a cartoon series, a lot of people think we're looking at the cartoon and we're adding the voices later on.
That's what I imagined.
No. Voices first. Because if I'm, doing Goofy or something, and I say, "Gorge, howdy, Mick," and I want to go, "Gorge, howdy, Mick," I couldn't add that. I would have to follow exactly what they had animated. But if they like that laugh, they do a soundtrack first and then animate to that. And so that's generally the procedure. And then we'll go in, and if they have to change something because of legal reasons or something, then we do it to picture later on. But the principal recording is just a script and you in the booth.
So that's how it all came to be.
Wow. Well, I almost thought, like, they picked you right away because your personality seems to fit the character so well. How much of your own personality is like Bosch's personality? How much do you relate to Bosch?
So you're saying that I'm by nature a taciturn?
It seems like it.
Yeah. All right, this interview is over. No, I mean, I think, you know what, for me, I mean, the whole joy of acting for me is to try to kind of disappear into a role.
Yeah.
But, you know, the parallel to that is how do you disappear into a role and when it's something steeped in reality like Bosch, you know, it's not Batman or something, how to make it feel as grounded and real as possible, because I never want to get caught acting. I can't stand that.
I smell a roast.
Okay, guys, one final time, just like every show. I know this show's crazy and it's way different and we're celebrating everything, but I just want to give you guys one final time. If you haven't shared this episode and dropped a comment in those comments to have a chance to enter to win this special mug, do so now, because at the end of the show, we're going to pick one lucky comment and we're going to give away this incredibly rare variant Space Oddity mug. You can only get it on this show. D-Man and
I can't even get it.
Yep.
There's only 10 of these things.
Yep. D-Man and myself will sign it and send it right out to you guys, commemorating our celebration of 100 episodes. And one of the things that we do on this show every week is the roast. And like I said, we were going to celebrate the show, so I didn't really want to – I wanted to switch it up. I didn't want to, like, do all of the normal segments. I wanted to, you know, celebrate with all of you guys.
Plus, I feel like it's not even fair. We get to roast so many other things. Why not roast ourselves a little bit?
I guess, right? I mean, so we can roast ourselves, right? Like, I think we can.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the only reason why people watch this show is to win a mug.
Yeah, that might be true. Is that true? Do you guys even care about what we talk about, or you just care about the mug? I know some of you guys in the comments.
They don't
are
care
just
about
being
us,
like,
Jeff.
The mug.
They care about the mug.
I mean, who the fuck thought it was a good idea to have a show from a coffee company and never talk about coffee?
Never talk about coffee. How many times do we talk about coffee?
Once
That's
a show?
Fucking ridiculous.
Once a show, maybe?
Maybe one day we'll get our shit together and talk about coffee. I mean, it's amazing that we even drink coffee on the show. We're such posers, Jeff.
We are such posers. I mean, why do you guys even follow us? Like, why are you even watching this? And, like, you know, sure, we get to talk to a bunch of cool guests, and we talk to, you know, we have these incredible conversations stemming from that what fuels you idea and all that stuff. But who the hell are we? We're a bunch of losers.
Yeah, why would you have a couple of no-talent losers head off a podcast?
We're not even actors. Like, shouldn't you get actors to do this?
Should we have
thing?
some sort of accolade to be able to, like, talk to you guys? I mean, we literally have nothing before this. We were just, I don't know, couch surfers before this.
I mean, literally the first time we ever went live in front of an audience, which should be a very big deal, we're backstage stuffing our face with ribs. I mean, like, what is wrong with us?
Oh, boy,
God.
Jeff. Well, you know, who needs advice from a couple of nerds and jocks?
Do you guys need advice? You know what? How about you guys become part of the roast, too, and roast us in those comments?
Oh, yeah,
because
go ahead.
That would be great.
I would like to see a good burn down there.
I'd love some good burns from you guys because, you know, we take it all with a grain of salt.
Jeff, do you remember when we had that segment, oh, God, what was that?
What Fuels
You?
You?
The What Fuels You episode where you and I, a nerd and a jock, give advice on how to live life. Please.
Yeah, I'm glad we don't do that anymore. That's a little self-serving. I mean, I understood where it came from because, again, on the podcast, we ask every single guest what fuels you because it's a great question. We're all fueled by something. We're all fueled by death. That is the antithesis of this show is that we're all going to die someday, and we all want to leave this world a little different before we inevitably leave it for good. But, yeah, we used to do that segment. Very recently we stopped that, actually.
Good thing.
Where
nobody needs advice from us, Jeff. I mean, look at this dude in the sunglasses. You know he's just trying to cover up that stupid face.
And, you know, I've never even actually thought about that before. I didn't know you could cover up a stupid face because obviously I don't do that very well. What the hell is my problem?
He's just leaving that stupid face hanging out for y'all to see.
Sometimes I wear a hat. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I have a beard. Sometimes I don't. What the fuck's my problem?
Wait, and what's up with Boba Fett, Jeff?
Yeah, what is up with Boba Fett? Why do I like the character that has the fewest lines in Star Wars and dies the dumbest way possible?
This dude walks around with a backpack and a roll-on luggage that looks like Boba Fett.
And a hat.
We weren't supposed to roast each other.
And a hat. I do. I really do. This guy goes out and literally has a legging problem. He's bought himself probably 40 different styles of those skin-tight leggings, so when he's at the gym, he can feel better about himself when he's lifting heavy things.
Oh, God. Were you there when I wrestled John on St. Patrick's Day?
Oh, my God. Drunken St. Patrick's Day.
And I burst through the door with my leggings on.
It was the worst. It was the worst and best. It got really awkward.
Got very crotchy.
Yeah. But we, you know what? At the end of the day, I could never do this show without you, man.
Amen, dude. I could never get my shit together enough to write down notes like this in order to have a decent show. It would just be one idiot talking to a bunch of other idiots.
And full
No
disclosure, when we started this show, and Mike wanted to bring me on to start a podcast for the company, the first thing I said was that I will only do it if I get this guy too, because we were doing a show at that time on a Geek Network, and I really liked the way that we worked as a team, as a twofer, and I didn't like the idea of creating a show on my own without you.
And just the chemistry that we have, just years, and I mean, we're talking about almost 10 years of working with each other professionally, either through music or through podcasting, and you just don't get that with anybody else. I mean, the way we palaver back and forth.
Big word.
Oh, boy. It's just something you're not going to get pulling two strangers off the side of the street or just picking two people from the company to be able to man this ship. And I feel incredibly lucky, and I will never give this up.
Me either, and I also feel lucky, and I feel lucky for all of you guys out there who are fans of the show, fans of the podcast. I want to thank all of the guests, all 100 guests that we've had on the show and beyond, the ones that you guys haven't even seen yet that we've got coming, and the ones that we haven't even gotten yet. And I want to thank all of the fans of the company, of the show. Without you, we could never do what we get to do here at Death Wish Coffee. And on top of that, I want to thank Death Wish Coffee. I want to thank all of the employees, because if you're a fan of the podcast, you know every single month we try to feature another employee on the show, and those are some of our best performing episodes because you guys out there want to hear what it's like to work at this company, where these people come from, and we all have the same kind of story where we all are part of this Death Wish Coffee juggernaut, and we all are figuring it out as we go.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. And, of course, we have to especially thank Mike Brown for going out on a limb and giving us a chance and really pushing us to get this podcast done.
Because there are other companies out there that have podcasts. There are other companies out there that do this type of thing, but it comes from a company standpoint. You know, he never wanted the Coffee Cast. Let's talk about coffee, because we even said in the beginning, if we were to do that, after 3 episodes, we would have been tired talking about coffee. And we're now releasing episode 100.
I remember when we specifically sat down with Mike and a bunch of people to start planning out this podcast, and everybody else had their idea of what this podcast should be, and Mike was like, no, I brought these guys in to do a podcast.
Yeah.
Let them do what they're going to do. And I mean,
we're eternally grateful for that.
Seriously.
And one last time, we're eternally grateful for every single one of you watching and listening to this show. When we started the show, we were throwing different ideas against the wall, different segments, and one of those that kind of coalesced was to feature the community, and we started this thing called the Community Shoutout, which we did for a while, and then as the show became a much more video aspect, a more visual aspect, something that we could really feature people on, with that morphed into what we're doing now, which is the Death Star of the Week. So I want to thank every single person that we've had on Community Shoutout and Death Star of the Week up to this point, and all of you that will eventually be on it as well. Thank you so, so much. Finally, real quick before we get to the update, do you have any favorite memories of this show? Any favorite times, favorite guests, anything that stands out?
I mean, the one thing that stands out to me is the friendships that we've built from some of these guests. You know, some of these people I still talk to almost on a daily basis. If not, they hit me up every now and then.
Yeah.
For either for coffee or we're trading tips or just something that they heard about, and it's just so incredible the people that I've been able to connect with through this show. That's you know, it's one big memory when. When I'm 20 years from now looking back at this, that's the one thing that I'll remember is the relationships that I've built from doing this show, and that's the one thing I will never forget. What about you, Jeff?
Me too. Definitely some of the conversations that I never thought I'd ever have with some of these people, learning about people's lives, learning that through 100 episodes, hearing what fuels you from 100 different people, I realize we're all a lot of the same. We are all human beings, and again, not to sound like a broken record, we are all fueled by death. We really are. We all want to do something that's going to change this world, that's going to leave our mark on this world.
Listen, you're going to die.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that we know for sure. The one thing that we don't know for sure, what the fuck are you going to do before you die? What are you going to do?
Yeah, what are you going to do? And I love hearing that from the myriad of people we've been able to talk to and the ones we're going to be able to talk to. Speaking of white whales, who do you guys want to see us try to get on the show? Let us know in the comments. But white whales for you. Who do you want to try for in the next 100 episodes?
I mean, personally, somebody who's influenced me for for so long, as much as like being the musician that I wanted to become. And so many questions for this person, but the front man of Queens of the Stone Age, the brain man behind Queens of the Stone Age, Josh Homme. I just have so many questions for him, and he's a hilarious dude.
Yeah.
And that'd be somebody I'd love to get on here. Another person who just makes sense for this show, and would be an amazing interview would be Rob Zombie.
Yes. I'd love to talk to both of those people. Maybe that'll happen someday. For me, I've got a vague one, which I would love to. We've never done this on the show yet. Tangentially, we have, but I really, really, really would love to talk to someone specifically from the Marvel universe or the Star Wars universe, an actor or an actress, someone who's been embodying one of these characters that we know and love so much. Because I'd love to really pick their brain about, and we have a little bit. We had actor Dave Dismalchin, who was in Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp, and we talked to him a little bit. And we've talked to some other people who are tangentially there, but I want to kind of get a little bit.
All right, you gotta pick somebody.
But first, somebody from that,
Robert Downey Jr.,
Mark Hamill.
Ooh,
yeah, 100%. Mark Hamill, if I'm picking anybody.
Dude, if we had Mark Hamill and Robert Downey Jr. on this show.
Incredible. But beyond all of that, I'm saying it, in the next 100 episodes, I really, really, really want to talk to Christian Slater. And I really hope that we get Christian Slater on this show so we can have an incredible Christian Slater show.
And you can help us by following at Real Christian Slater on Instagram. Hit him up. Let him know we're here. Let him know we want him on this show, and you'll be able to hear him here.
D-Man's Death Wish Update. Brought to you by Death Wish Coffee.
By the way, this is the segment that birthed this very show.
It is. Before I ever started working here, before we ever started a podcast, we were on a different network doing a podcast, but you were working for the company, and Death Wish was actually sponsoring that podcast. So we thought it was a great idea. Why don't we have the D-Man Death Wish Update so you can talk about the inner workings? And we used to reveal products on that geek podcast, which was crazy. New stuff coming out and like all that kind of stuff, and that's what bore this whole idea.
Yeah, Mike Brown heard it, and he was like, oh, yeah, we should do a whole podcast. And here's the D-Man Death Wish Update to date. What do we got, Jeff?
Well, first of all, I just want to say this contest is still running. Go on over to deathwishcoffee.com/contests, and you guys can enter to win a ton of coffee, a mug, and a prize pack from Suavecito. And Suavecito is an incredible company that makes a bunch of hair care products and beard care products. I've actually been using the beard wash and the beard conditioner, and I think
you were saying it mentholated your face a bit.
Yeah,
I like
the
that
tea
though.
tree and the menthol.
Yeah,
it's an intense shower, I'll tell you. But I think it's making it. I've only used it for 2 days, and I think it's a little softer. It's definitely softer right out of the shower. But beards are beards. But I definitely been using the product in my hair. I know you have too. I definitely love it. You guys can win an entire prize pack right on over at deathwishcoffee.com/contest. But tomorrow, guys, we have something giant and amazing and cool coming out. Look at this thing. Look at this thing. We told you about this. This is the big bundle. We'll turn it around so you can see it. But there it is. This is probably the greatest gift you can give anybody for the holiday season, period. And we'll open it up. I don't know if we'll be able to see it on camera, but I'll
no, it'll stay. We can do this.
There it is. Look at that. Look at that. So you're going to get, in this bundle, you're going to get a bag of Ahala Java, a bag of Death Wish coffee, and a bag of Barrel Brand coffee, all whole bean. And then you're going to get the corresponding mugs, the Valhalla Java mug, the Death Wish mug, and the Barrel Brand mug. And we rarely make Barrel Brand merchandise, so this is really the only way you'll ever be able to get that kind of thing. This comes out tomorrow, and it is limited. Very, very limited. What, 1,500 pieces?
A little bit less, but yeah.
So if you want it, get on it. It's the perfect gift for the holidays. Again, the price point, it's going to be a little high because you're getting 3 bags of coffee and 3 awesome camper mugs.
They're ceramic, by the way.
Ceramic, made in America, incredible mugs. So be prepared to spend that money. But again,
and by the way,
this
the
is
only
one and done.
The only way you can get these things is if you buy this big bundle box.
But again, you buy this, your shopping's over for somebody, right? That's a perfect Christmas or Hanukkah present. Like, done, one and done. There you go. Happy holidays. So tomorrow, guys, tomorrow.
And right around the corner, I can't wait to see how this does. The chocolate, it is so good. Jeff, have you had it yet?
Yes, it is so delicious, guys.
And it looks cool. That bar has that mold. It's impressed with our
Yep.
logo and
I'll
everything.
Put some pictures up in the show. Again, this is not your average Hershey bar. This is going to be a little bit of higher price for a premium chocolate bar that is got bean to bar ratio. They match their cocoa beans to our coffee beans, and it all makes this beautiful magic in your mouth. It's so delicious, guys. I can't wait for you to get it. I know last week on the show we said it was coming out this coming week, but like it happens sometimes, some stuff got caught up in delivery. So it's coming in the next couple weeks. Get prepared for it. It'll be out. We promise. It just... that happens sometimes.
I can't wait to hear what you guys think of it. Let us know in a couple weeks when we have a show again. Leave some comments. Let us know what you think about the chocolate.
Definitely.
Seriously, I can't wait to hear everybody's reaction because I know it's going to be just everybody's going to be blown away. It's really next level good.
It really is. Finally, I wanted to just give you a little bit of mug update again. We've been doing this every single week to kind of drill it into your brains as what's happening. First and foremost, we announced a lot of new products on the show last week. There's also a blog out on deathwishcoffee.com for a lot of the winter products that are coming out. One of those is our winter set, our holiday mug set, the Frau Perchta set. It is our Christmas witch, I guess you could call it. And it's a 2-mug set. One is going to be the version of her that she's good when you're a good boy or girl and she comes looking like an angel and she gives you a silver dollar. And the other one's going to be the evil witch. When you're a bad boy or girl, she comes and disembowels you and stuffs you full of hay, which is terrifying.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
So that's going to be the mug set. I know a lot of people have been posting this picture that Saratoga Coffee Traders has been released of their own winter mug set. I just wanted to give you guys the idea that to clear up that confusion, those are two different things. Ours is going to be a set. Saratoga Coffee Traders is doing their own mug for winter, their own kind of thing. But speaking of mugs, right around the corner, everybody, the Space Oddity mug with that galaxy glaze. This is coming out so super soon, maybe next week. And you guys are definitely going to want to get this. One last time, if you're not a subscriber to coffee, this is the perfect time to do it because subscribers get day early access to this mug.
And it's going to go quick.
There are less than 5,000 of them, and you're going to be getting that a day early if you're the coffee subscriber. But if not, the other thing that you need to do is text mugs to 484848, and on the official release day, not the coffee subscriber day, but the next day when it's released to the general public, the second it goes live on our website, you will get a text message if you've signed up for that list that will say, hey, this mug's available, and here's a link that you can click to buy it right from your smart device. It's that easy.
And of course, right around the corner, Black Friday, Super Saturday, Cyber Monday. We're going to be doing something for every day, and they're going to be huge deals. I'm not going to tell you exactly what they are now. Something involves a mug. Another thing involves maybe something like a backpack and death cups.
Maybe. You're going to have to tune in next week for more information.
Jeff cuts me off, so I don't say anything.
You're going to have to tune in next week for more information on another update on the show, guys. And that was it.
That's 100 episodes, Jeff.
That's 100 episodes. Thank you so much for celebrating with us. That was, I know, a little bit longer and a little bit crazier, but we're really excited that we made it 100 episodes, and to kind of walk back down memory lane was a lot of fun for me, and I hope it was a lot of fun for you guys too. One final time, if you want to follow D-Man and myself on social media, it's super easy. It's at the bottom of the screen. I am at Jeff Wish Coffee.
And I am at Death Wish Dustin.
And tomorrow is the actual 100th episode of Fueled by Deathcast, available everywhere podcasts are found: iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Music, iHeartRadio, and in video format on YouTube and Facebook. You're going to want to watch this one because
Father Zakk Wylde in person at the Black Vatican.
Right from his studio in LA. It was incredible. We have so much fun. I hope you guys enjoy that episode. And we'll be back next week with another show. We're back to normal next week. So tune in next week. And
What's
we'll see you
normal,
guys.
Jeff?
Yeah, I don't know.